So with that, let's jump right into the quarterbacks for waiver wired here. And guys, we have to start with C.J. Stroud, who at this point is a rookie sensation in terms of the passing yards. I mean, Jay, he's available in over half leagues right now. This Texans offense through the air has surprisingly looked awesome under Bobby Slowick so far.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud's the real deal. The concern was his offensive line going up against T.J. Watt last week. No sacks for the Steelers. Week before that, no sacks for the Jags either. Stroud has been incredible. The past 3 weeks, he's the 5th-ranked quarterback in EPA per play, 6th in success rate. He's the #1 quarterback in the NFL this season for passer rating against man coverage. He's just been phenomenal, and he's outperformed expectations.
I don't think he's thrown. I think he has yet to throw an interception this year.
An interception. I think he's got the most passing yards for a rookie through 4 games.
So he has to break the record by a mile.
Yes,
by a mile for a rookie.
He's been nothing short of fantastic, and it's crazy to think about this. Remember in the preseason, in the pre-draft process, there were talks like he's going to drop. He had a bad Wonderlic score.
Yeah, it was the
like Will Levis
Will Levis is going to go over him. All this stuff, and then he gets drafted #2 by the Texans, and then he had that first preseason game. He looked a little bit lost, and I was like, oh boy, we know, looks
Here
like
we go.
here's a
Rookie
bust.
quarterback.
He's been nothing short of phenomenal. Multiple touchdown passes and at least 280 passing yards in all 3 games that he's played, the last 3 as well. Look at the schedule, too. At Atlanta, home to New Orleans, okay, fine. Bye. At Carolina. It's not a schedule that scares you at all. And, with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and even Robert Woods, who doesn't seem completely done yet. I mean, all of a sudden they've got weapons, and their offensive line is getting healthier. They should get Tunsil back this week. C.J. Stroud is he is now in the Kirk Cousins is better this year, but you know what I mean? That high-end QB2 range that, on certain weeks could get into the, QB1 conversation.
Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, that kind of range.
Jared Goff,
that
range.
Goff when you were talking about
exactly.
Him. They have some similar play style, by the way, to an extent.
But by the way, with the potential to have a monster game. 3 straight games with over 20 fantasy points is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, and look, I think he's gotten a little bit lucky so far. You generally always get lucky if you avoid any picks for 4 games, but I think that will be counteracted by the fact that O-line will get better, and they have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL playing in the AFC South.
By the way, even if you're quote-unquote you don't need a quarterback, I still think he's a priority if he's still available in your league because, he's a legit fantasy starter the rest of the way. Yep. And as a result, if you have C.J. Stroud and you had, I'm making it up, right? But pretend you had, Josh Allen and you pick up C.J. Stroud and you're but my running back room is decimated. Well, then trade Josh Allen for a for a high-end running back or a high-end wide receiver because C.J. Stroud is good enough to carry your fantasy team as a starting quarterback in fantasy the rest of the way.
Our next one, Matthew Stafford. He's available in 50% of leagues. They got the Eagles on deck right now, and shockingly, Barry, the Eagles are allowing the 6th most passing yards this season. Now, they've had some massive leads that probably contributes to that at times, but it looks like a good matchup.
And then they ran into a buzzsaw named Sam Howell. Don't forget that.
That's fair, and that was not a massive lead.
Barely beat him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, only because
all wins don't count the same.
Because they didn't call a false start on 4th down, NBD, just saying, whatever, some home cooking there.
Feels like touchdowns are coming for Stafford, and that would really just alter his entire stat line.
300-plus passing yards in 3 out of 4 games this season. You mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles, not necessarily as formidable a defense as you might have thought. Chance, potentially, to get Cooper Kupp back this week. We haven't heard yet, but there's a chance that Kupp comes back this week as well. But Matthew Stafford looks great. They're throwing a ton. He'll get Cooper Kupp back at some point, whether it's this week or not. But certainly, again, with his skill level and the amount they're throwing. By the way, not after Philadelphia, Arizona, not a defense that scares you. Pittsburgh, they've been brutal this year. And then at Dallas, all right, fine. But for the next 3 weeks, they're, it's good matchups here for Matthew Stafford. Go ahead, read. You know what, Connor, do me a favor. Can you read the next guy on your list there? Jay, just do that.
Do you want me to do it? Sam Howell. He's 74% available,
future
and
Hall
he gets
of Famer.
The Bears on. The Bears might not get sacked 5 times against the Bears. Not so fearsome D-line. But look, Sam Howell has been very good. You hope that he would get a little bit more on the ground. But I mean, look, if he's going to do what he does through the air, then that's perfectly fine.
Future Hall of Famer Sam Howell has had 19 fantasy points in 2 of the last 3 games. I like the 40 rushing yards against Philadelphia. All of them on scrambles. Hopefully we get some design runs in there. Only one team in the NFL has allowed more fantasy points than the Bears this season. Then you got Josh Dobbs. We've talked about him a lot. Last 3 weeks, He's the second best quarterback in fantasy. He's the second best quarterback in fantasy. It's not just like, oh, he's been good. He's the second best quarterback in fantasy since week 2.
Against Dallas and San Francisco.
Yes, thank you very much. 3 straight games with over 40 rushing yards. Bengals, Rams, Seattle, Baltimore next. And then Zach Wilson. Welcome to the show, Zach Wilson. We think in a deeper league, if you're desperate, he's at Denver. No team in the NFL has allowed more fantasy points to the opposing quarterback than the Denver Broncos. Zach Wilson looked fairly competent this past Sunday night.
Shockingly competent.
Against a good defense.
Against a good defense.
So we'll
outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
We'll
yes, he legitimately did. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.